defence will remain unsecured all night.
Evening everybody and welcome back to the Rangers Journal podcast. I'm your host Scott Mackay and I'm delighted to be joined by Dave and Billy tonight. Dave, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Just wish this team would hurry up and commute. Constantly sat refreshing the Twitter feed, but other than that, I'm good, mate.
Good. Billy, how are you, mate?
Good. The dread slowly turn into battle fever through the week, so let's see how we go.
Aye, that's half the battle, isn't it? That's half the battle. Just quickly kind of get your thoughts. This is only a wee 10-15 minute pod, but Billy, I'll come to you first. What's your thoughts on your initial thoughts on the game tonight? How are you expecting it to go?
I mean, with this Rangers team, who knows? Because we've had these amazing nights in Europe, but the home form recently is just a bin fire. Given that we're shipping 2 goals a game pretty much every game, and our best defenders out, that gives me the fear. I've got to be honest. I think even a big night for us tonight might end up in a draw rather than a big win. I mean, I'm clinging to sort of the historical stuff we've done this season, but in all honesty, I think this is a level up. I think we need everything to go our way tonight to get a result, to be honest.
Is a draw a bad result, Billy?
Bilbao's...
Billy, Dave, you alright?
Team's out, mate.
All right.
Team is out.
Who we got?
Aye. So we've got Kelly starting in goals, Tav, Sterling, Proper, Balogun, Ridvan. So that'll be a back 5. And then Raskin, Rice, Hadji, with Cherney and Dessers up top. I'll just ping it in the chat so that everyone can see it, but Dessers is wild for me after what he's been producing recently.
Crazy. Not learning lessons at all. Billy, what's your initial thoughts on that team?
I mean, the call with Kelly coming in is a big one because I understand why. I think it should have been done earlier and given him like a league game or 2 to get bedded in, because if he is a nightmare tonight, you can have 2 keepers that you're struggling to play. Dessers, you said Dessers is in from the start, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I'm less bothered about Dessers because there's a couple of European games recently he's been world class. Dessers in it rather than sort of like can't hit his backside. So even the game against Fenerbahce away, it could have been 5-1. He was 2 toenails away from like basically being a 5-1 game away. And I think even it was at Union Saint-Gilloise, but it was like one of the latter games in the group stages. He looked superb, like driving into the box, running channels. So like in Europe, he can do this when he turns up. It's just like rolling the dice and seeing which Cyril Dessers is turning up. But weirdly, I'm more confident you might get a performance out of him in Europe.
Fair enough. He's certainly got character. Dave, me and you were speaking in the chat before, a couple of years ago before us, and I said if Danilo comes in and he misses a few chances and stuff, then nobody will blame Barry. But if Dessers is a Dessers-like performance tonight, this is on Ferguson, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, mate. I think in fairness to Dessers, Ross was obviously saying in the chat just before we came on that, he doesn't hide, and I'll give him that much. But I think there's pretty clear evidence over the last few games that he has hit one of his kind of barren, dry spells that he goes through. And we all know this, he has his purple patches, then he hits a rut, either gets taken out of the team or, eventually plays himself back into a purple patch. For me, as a fan, I think I wanted to see him drop tonight. I don't think what we've seen in the last couple of games has been good enough. And given that has been there, I think, why would you play him in such an important game? I get he might come good, but that is only a might. It's a massive risk for me. And I would say, actually, the striker decision was probably more important than the goalkeeper decision tonight.
Definitely. Billy, seen the first leg, just staying on Dessers. In the first leg against Fenerbahce, that was Dessers' best performance in a Rangers jersey for me. He was running channels, he was harrowing defenders. Fenerbahce couldn't keep up with him. That's what we need off him tonight. We're going to play a long ball, clearly. Going to play a long ball. Dessers has never been known for holding the ball up and roughing defenders up, but That's what we need tonight, don't we?
I mean, we need a bit of that, but also like I know the Fenerbahce game he was good, but I'm pretty sure it's the game before. I mean, in the group stage, he looked super as well. So it's not, when you think about Dessers, you don't think about him running channels and maybe being that sort of player. But he's shown he can drive into the box, he can get in the end of things. You know, the winner against Dundee was like, you know, running in behind and, you know, like being there when the ball drops. So I've got to be honest. Like I would rather have kept, I'd rather have kept Danilo on the bench as an option, because like he seems to come on and give us something a wee bit different. I honestly, I'm not saying I would have been thrilled putting anybody up front, but I think Dessers has more to his game in a European setting, and I think he's the kind of guy who could get you something. A lot of his highlight reel would be in Europe, so I'm less concerned about that. About a wee bit like be a big step up for Bailey Rice, because I think he's good on the ball, but something that's come up quite a few times in discussions about youth team players coming through is he seemed to arrive in the first team with no positional sense about where to be off the ball. And you saw that with McCausland. It was last season when just basically, like, you know, player runs off him and suddenly we've shipped a goal. Clement said that about Bailey Rice. Barry Ferguson, even when he was talking this week, said, you know, he's not maybe where he should, where he would like him to be developmentally. So that's going to be interesting, because like if he's replacing Diamandi was the guy who in the midfield who takes the ball in the half turn. I was at the Malmo game earlier in the season. A number of times he broke the press or he got through a line, wriggling through 2 or 3 players, and was really impressive. And it'll be, you know, it could be a standout game. If Bailey Rice produces tonight, then it could be one of those games where he puts the marker down. But that's going to be a big one to watch.
Dado, just to reply to your comments, it is along the bottom of the screen right now. If you're heading to a match just now and you are tuned into the Rangers Journal, get your pal a wee tap and tell him to subscribe to the channel for me. It's completely free. It doesn't cost you an absolute penny. We've got tactic shows, we've got scouting reports, we've got live feeds that come up if there's big news. I.e., when Clement was away, we came through with a big live pod there and then. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Dave, Bailey Rice, can he get a start against Hibs or any of the absolute muck that we play against during the league season? But he's getting a start in a European quarter final. I was expecting maybe Badrami or Lawrence to come in tonight. It's a big test for a youngster.
It is, and I think as much as anything, it may come down to the kind of tactical setup. So I think for me, obviously, we are quite far back. You know, it's a back 5. And I think what we'll see is obviously Dessers up top, Cherney just in behind. I foresee Hadji and Raskin kind of breaking forward. And I think that's why Hadji's potentially starting this one, where he has dropped out of favour a wee bit recently, is so that he can get forward and influence the attacking play, but sit a bit deeper than what he normally would. And I think for me, Rice just sits behind those two as the kind of playmaker. Dare I suggest it's almost intended, I think, as a kind of Stephen Davis role. And I'm not comparing them for a minute, obviously. Rice hasn't done anything yet to deserve that, but that's the kind of role I think that they're looking to deploy him in. And I think if you take any of the others, like Bayrami, Lawrence, all these guys, they're all more attacking-minded players, whereas I think Rice is potentially the only one, except maybe Barron. I think that's potentially quite a big call, is the fact that they're playing Rice rather than Barron. Yeah. But again, I would suspect that's because we're quite light up top compared to what we normally would be. So Barron obviously does you kind of running a boot, bit of a headless chicken act, fine. Domestically, that is very much needed, whereas I think in this kind of game, you do need someone that's a bit more of a playmaker, and I think that's where Rice comes into the thinking here.
Definitely. For me, Rice coming in is probably the biggest shock. I was expecting Butland to get dropped to Liam Kelly.
Said to you earlier in the week, mate.
Aye. Rice coming in is the biggest shock, and it's a big call. We ruined Leon King's career putting him in. In the Champions League, this is a European Cup quarter-final. Big call for Ferguson to put the boy in, but hopefully it pays off.
Yeah, and it could be the making of him, mate.
Yanis Hadji in today. Yanis Hadji in there as well.
Yeah, as I say, I think that's so you've got someone a bit more attacking minded, kind of. So they'll start further back. He'll be expected to get involved and try and defend the middle, but I think he'll also have a bit of a license to break forward when the time's right.
Aye. What about you, Billy? What's your thoughts on Hadji?
Hadji's a player I always find frustrating. I like him as a player, I like him as a guy, but he's just that bit slower than we need him to be. And maybe in a European game he'll get a wee bit more space, and that footballing brain of his will actually unlock something, because he can do that. But just a lot of the time when I'm watching him, it's like I'm kind of like, go faster, or like do that. You can see what he's going to do if he just did it that split second faster. I mean, it's that thing he probably wouldn't be in Scotland if he had that wee bit extra to his game. But European game, he gets a wee bit of space, yeah, and there's no doubt he's got the mentality. He would want to be a match winner tonight. If we get any free kicks, we'll probably be fighting to have for them. So that's my concern, is just let Bilbao a step up and the game might pass him by a wee bit. But given what we've got, he's one of the more creative players. He could make something happen. So it's like, let's see what happens.
Aye, definitely. Right. We'll go with predictions and match winners, money matches, whatever you want today. Give me a spiel. I'm going to go with a 1-each draw, and I'm going to take us over to Bilbao. I fancy away from home a lot more than at home just now. 1-each draw, and I'm going to go Cherny with a goal. Billy, I'll come to you first, mate.
I'm going to go, everything goes right for us tonight, and we get a 2-2 draw. Dessers with a brace, why not? I don't see us keeping them out. I think the Williams brothers and also Sunset, he's back and he's got a goal every 4 games. So I don't see us keeping a clean sheet. But 2-2, and like you say, taking it to Bilbao with some of our away performances at the moment, you'd probably go for that.
Definitely. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I think it'll be a narrow loss tonight. I think it'll be a 2-1 loss. I think, kills me to say it, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Dessers pop up with a goal.
Just
again, as much as he's been awful lately, I think you said it earlier, this is when he comes alive. I think Cherny will get the other one. I do fancy us over there to give it a bit more of a go at the minute. I can't put my finger on it, but it's not even domestically. Across the board, we have been terrible at Ibrox lately. So I do think it'll be a narrow loss here and potentially take the tie to Bilbao and maybe get something there. Maybe.
Fair enough. I think that's what everybody's wanting, is just keep us in the tie in a second leg. Keep us in the tie in the second leg. Make it alive. But apart from that, if you're watching, please smash that like button. We'll be back after the match with a post-match reaction. And remember, Thursday night's a Rangers night, but every night's a Rangers Journal night. See you later.